Hey, welcome to the show. It's August 30th, 2021. Man, I can't believe August is gone already. This was one of the fastest months ever out there. So, hey, welcome to the show. It's Simply Des Moines 15-minute market update. My name is Les Solgrove, and what I do each week is I provide you with a recap of all the news that happened in the Des Moines real estate market in the past 7 days, and this is no different this week. So let's jump right in here. Let's talk first about the top story this week, and this is a milestone that we achieved. We have hit 11,000 closed transactions. That's 11,000 closed sales year to date, and we did this a year ago. At this same time, we had just closed 10,000 sales, so we're 1,000 closed sales ahead of the same time last year. And that just makes sense because of the high number of sales we had. It's going to push us through to a record year. However, I do believe we're going to slow down as we move into the end of the year because we're seeing sale pending slow down. We'll talk about that in depth here in just a little bit. But you can see here on this graphic that, one year ago, the blue shows we just hit 10,000 sales. So we're going to be on target to hit 17,000, maybe 17.5. It might hit 18,000. That would be a push, but let's just see what happens here. So this week in review, really only one item we're going to talk about on this screen, and that is the number of open houses here. You can see we're back up a little bit again this week. I think maybe State Fair did affect open house traffic a little bit. I know the weather's been hot this whole month, and that could have also been causing the issue, but we pushed right at 300 open houses. Now, it wasn't that long ago we were having 600 and 700 open houses, and at one point in time, before COVID, we actually had over 1,000 open homes held. We had over 1,000 homes being held open on a weekend. So, we're still way, way low compared to what we used to be. And I think, again, that's just a product of COVID-19. The number of homes added to the market this week, it was a little disappointing week. 263 homes were added compared to 284 last week and 276 the week before. And if you recall, my whole show last week was focused on the Iowa State Fair and whether or not the Iowa State Fair traffic, open house traffic, new homes listed, homes going under contract, if that was affected by the Iowa State Fair. And sure enough, look at this week. We actually are lower than that. If Iowa State Fair was having any effect at all, you would think we would be back up with listing inventory back up again here, but that's not the case. A year ago, we had 300 homes come on the market. On this week, 34, and this year we had 263 this week. So chances are good that we could beat last year's 251 next week. But I'm not going to hold my breath here. So we really need to add about 325 just to make our market feel like we've kind of hit our weekly non-goal here. So this is what that looks like. And you can see that week 34 is pretty much tailed back off again. So anyway, that's the weekend review. This week's spotlight, we're going to talk a little bit about inverted marketplace. And I've talked about this before, but I think it's a good chance for us to kind of go in depth there a little bit on this particular topic. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define what is an inverted market. An inverted market is basically when we cross over and have more homes under contract than we do have homes for sale. And the way this graphic looks right here, if you look, this first box, I've got them boxed off here. This is 2019, this is 2020, and this is 2021. And I will say that 2019 was the last year that we had what I would consider a normal market as far as number of homes for sale versus pending sales. And this is what we have typically seen. In fact, prior to last year, I'd never seen a situation where we had more homes in sale pending than we had homes for sale. So this is what we would typically see is when the year kind of starts, we see a little bit of a drop in homes for sale, and it builds steadily throughout most of the year. And then the last 2 or 3 months, it just slows down. And same thing with our sale pending activity. It kind of builds in the spring and then does a gradual slowdown here throughout the year. And so again, this is where in a normal market, we have more homes for sale than there are sale pendings. In 2020, okay, right here in 2020, this all changed. Right as COVID hit, we actually went below the number of homes for sale count than our sale pending count. And we actually went into what I call and I've tagged this. This is, I've never heard this term before, so I kind of made it up. It's called the inverted market. That's, again, where we have more homes in sale pending status than we have for sale. And we maintained this inverted market all the way through to the end of 2020. We thought maybe we were going to get out of it just right at the end of the year, but it never did cross over. And at the time, you notice it doesn't look like there's a very big spread there, but it sure felt big last year. It felt like we were really in this deep inversion of the marketplace. But man, look at what happened in 2021. At the highest point, we had almost 4,600 homes under contract. Last year was 3,600 was our all-time high, and we beat that by 1,000 homes under contract. And this is what's driving our closed sales to be so far ahead of last year's. We've got so many homes that are under contract. We still have 35, almost 3,600 homes under contract here that still our majority of those are going to close before the end of the year. And that's not taking into account more homes that'll come on. So we'll continue to close sales and hit that probably 17.5, maybe 18,000 if we're lucky there. At the very low, our inventory dropped as low as 1,643 homes for sale. And the difference between the two is, almost 3,000 transactions or listings, sales versus transactions, almost a spread of 3,000 there. And what's kind of really most interesting is that the active low, we hit 1,643 on May 25th, and we hit the pending high on May 24th of this year. So it was very distinct point in time where we actually changed over here and went from losing inventory and building pendings to where it just basically did a right-hand turn and or left-hand turn, depending on whichever way you're looking at it here, and has been coming back since then. So let's take a kind of a peek here without all the graphics over it again, and just to get an idea. And again, this is from 2019 to date, and this just kind of gives you an idea of how long our inventory has been on the downhill slide. It really happened third quarter of 2019, and we got into first quarter of 2020, and all signs prior to COVID were that we were going to just start this inventory buildup again, and it was going to be a good, strong year. I really felt like 2020 was going to be the year that we, started to build our inventory back up. But man, when COVID-19 hit, you can certainly tell here where everything kind of squiggles. Now, granted, this is looking at it at a 3-year vantage point here, but you can see that, we still saw the same cycles in sale pendings, up and down a little bit, up and down a little bit, and then a skyrocket for 2021, and now coming back down. But our homes for sale never saw those cycles, and it's just now starting to return back and starting to see this build up again. So 2022, I think, is going to be a good year that we'll kind of see some normalcy and get back to what we saw in 2019. So let's take, let's take a look at a couple different aspects too. So I'll go back and forth here. This is all properties, 2019 to date. And this graphic is single family resale. Now you're looking at that and you go, there's not much difference. And there really isn't. The single family resale properties pretty much mirrored what all properties were doing. And this was kind of the driving force in this particular graphic. And you can see we kind of still had that same build up and then a little bit of a pause there during COVID and then this build. I will say that we started to see the single family resale start to build back up here a little bit faster than we were seeing it, in the all properties here. But boy, I tell you what, let's look now one more slide. Let's look at the new construction. And this is the one that really is the most interesting. As you can see, new construction doesn't really play by the same rules as the open seller market, where you have the owner occupied market. You can see that home inventory for new construction doesn't tend to have those peaks and valleys. And a lot of this is because builders have the opportunity to kind of turn on and turn off inventory. You know, if you think of it as a water faucet, if they start to see inventory kind of slow down, they can turn off some of the new listings and kind of even out the home supply. And that was the case. We did see a pretty good spike there in 2020, right during COVID, when a lot of the homes were scheduled to come on, and they went ahead and came on. But it didn't do anything at all like what we saw last year or in previous years. We did see an increase in new construction during COVID, which was a good sign. This is kind of what kind of helped keep our market alive in 2020. And then it also did the same thing in 2021. Look at this huge spike we saw in 2021 in sale pendings. The last half of 2020 was kind of back and forth, but man, 2021, the builders really figured out, let's add the inventory, and it was like a fine-tuned engine for new construction. And you can see that, this trajectory is going to be kind of on a quick path back to getting back to a normal market. So anyway, those are the three markets we kind of look at. I look at single family resale, new construction, single family, and then the market overall. And we'll look at one more slide and we'll end it for the week here. This is just year to date. Again, we're just looking now again at 2021, and this has got the overlay to where 2020 was. So this just kind of shows you how much different the year was. And if you can kind of see the dotted line there for the orange, that's 2020 sale pendings. And the trajectory is very, very similar. It's about the same as we go forward here. But the homes for sale last year, like I said, we were on this downhill slide, and it came over here and then picked back up in January and went back down. Now, the whole idea is, when will we get out of this inverted market? And that's what I'm trying to figure out here is, well, if we take about the end of May, 1st of June, and we look at this trend line, we add a trend line across here, and we go up for homes for sale. If homes coming on the market continue to build at this same pace, and frankly, I think we're going to see home inventory build a little bit faster than this, but let's just say it builds at this same pace, and then we do the same thing with sale pendings, this downward trend. I would say that sometime before December 1st, we are going to cross back over. And once we cross back over, we will no longer be in an inverted market, and that would have been from June, so 7 months of last year, and 11 months. So it could be almost 18 months of our real estate market could be in this inverted market before we get back out. Hopefully we get out sooner. But I think once we get out of that inverted market, the buyers are going to feel like they've had a chance to find more homes to buy, and sellers are going to kind of feel the same way, that they feel like they can put their homes on the market and kind of find the next home that's coming on the market here. So anyway, that's kind of the show this week. Next week, it's the end of August recap. We're going to say goodbye to August and look at kind of some of the milestones we hit and some of the normal stuff we look at for the end of August. And in the meantime, thank you for joining me. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, my YouTube channel, and be sure and ring the bell if you like what you've seen. Just simply hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, and we will see you all again. We'll see you all again next week. Thanks for joining me.